are the smartest animals in history that have a higher IQ than even me.
Baboon?
No.
Well, if you were
Maybe.
aboard a train bound for Cape Town in the 1880s, there's a good chance that was exactly what you were doing.
Wait a second, are you about to tell me that there was a baboon managing a train?
Meet Jack,
Seriously?
the signalman.
There's no way.
A baboon responsible for preventing trains from crashing into each other.
They couldn't just pay a
But
person
who
to
gave
do
him
this job?
important job in the first place? Well, it all started with a man named James Jumper Wide. He was a signalman who was famous for jumping between rail cars.
Pretty epic.
Until he fell.
Oh.
And lost both of his legs.
Ooh. Oh.
Although he built
God.
himself some pegs for legs and a makeshift wheelchair,
Peg
Jumper
leg.
thought his career as a signalman was over. Until he stumbled across Jack the baboon, who had been trained to push an ox cart. After much begging and pleading with the owner, he bought Jack the baboon and took him home.
Interesting. So he saw Jack the baboon and then realized, this baboon is smart. Maybe I could teach him how to do my job so that... Wait, why did he want to teach him how to do his job? What was he going to do? Because he can't jump on more trains. He doesn't have any legs.
And refused to do anything unless he was given a few drops of booze.
What?
And so, with enough encouragement, Jumper was able to train him to push his wheelchair to work.
Oh no,
Don't
what is
drink and
that?
drive, kids.
What is
Jack
that
would
little
watch
baboon
Jumper
butt?
hard at work at the levers every single day. Approaching trains would blow a certain number of whistles, which corresponded to the track they wanted to be transferred to. And Jumper would hobble around with great difficulty and set the right levers for the train. And
Okay.
just by observing, Jack was able to learn and memorize these sequences. And soon, Jumper had given the monkey full control.
This
But
feels
it
a
didn't
little
take long
unsafe.
for railway authorities to receive a complaint from a passenger, and after confirming the ridiculousness for themselves, they fired the pair on the spot.
Wait, how do you fire the baboon? The baboon was never hired to begin with, was he?
Pleaded with authorities to let Jack prove his abilities, and after harassing them for days, they eventually agreed
No.
to give him a chance.
Really?
And Jack's performance left them speechless. In fact, Jack had performed so well that they made him an official employee of the railway. With a
Wait,
salary of
what?
20 cents a day and a half a bottle of beer weekly.
That's
Don't know what
insanely
Jack
cool.
needed the money for, but
Yeah,
he definitely
right.
made good use of that alcohol.
Wait a second, does that mean that this monkey is like one of the only monkeys in history that had to pay taxes? Is that what we're saying?
And after being employed for 9 years in the railway, Jack never made a single mistake. Performing
Not
his
even
job
one.
even better than a human could.
Wow.
He eventually died of tuberculosis in 1890, and his skull resides in Albany Museum to this day.
Oh, but memorizing a bunch of lever positions is easy.
Well, play a memory game then. I'm gonna show you 5 random numbers between 1 and 9, and I'll hide them after
5,
a
9,
short
7,
amount of
4,
time, and you need to recall their positions in ascending order. We'll start easy. Ready,
Okay.
set, go.
Okay, 9, 2, 6, 3.
Okay, so
Okay, so it's this one's 9, 2, 6, 3. I forget what the top one was. So 9. This one's 2. You guys can't even see what I'm doing, but no, okay. This one was 2. This one was 3. This one was 6. So it goes bang. This one. This one. This one. This one.
So get your answers ready
Right?
now. If it was 2,
Yeah,
3,
yeah,
6,
yeah,
8,
yeah.
and 9,
I did it!
Good job. I
Yes!
think most of you got that.
Okay.
Now, let's ramp up the difficulty.
Wait, what do you
Ready,
mean?
Set, go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess none of you got that
No,
one.
no, wait.
But guess what?
did I?
Ayumu the chimpanzee
I don't know if I did.
Ayumu is a part of the eye research
How?
project in Kyoto University.
How does
and
it know?
He's really good at
What?
this memory test. I mean, look at that speed.
Wait, what?
Look at that technique.
What the? What the? How is he? How? What the?
The project
did he
was
do that?
actually started to research Ayumu's mum, Chimpanzee Eye, the first chimp in the world able to represent numbers with Arabic numerals, and she even liked to paint for fun.
She painted the Mona
Naturally,
Lisa?
Big brain mum, but
The monkey
big brain
Lisa?
son. Ayumu answered the memory test correctly with an accuracy of 79% on average,
Wow.
maintaining his accuracy even with shorter test times.
That
This
is
was compared
crazy.
to human subjects on the same test. And Well, this is what their graph looked like.
Pretty bad, right?
These results made it seem like young chimpanzees have a much better working memory than humans. But some scientists disagreed
Really?
with this, saying,
You will have more practice time.
so in another experiment, the humans were given more time to practice the task first. And after 2,500 trials,
That's a
they
lot.
were just able to match a Yumu's accuracy levels. I expected
So
a bit
they
more
were the
out of
same.
humans, to be honest. Shouldn't they be way better with numbers than a chimpanzee?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of numbers, Clever Hans was a horse from Berlin in the 1900s. Who
Hold on, wait a second. Okay, so I understand monkeys and different types of monkeys being, pretty smart compared to humans. We've all heard that before because they're kind of closely related to us. So it makes sense because they have, tools that they can make. They have their own communication. They clearly understand math and numbers. But a horse? Horses can do that too.
seemingly had the ability to do quick math. His
What?
owner would ask him a question, and Clever Hans would answer by tapping his hoof the correct number of times.
He could. Okay, that's a
Seems
neat party
bit
trick.
sus,
Yeah, I
and
don't know
the
if I
German
believe
Board
that.
of Education thought so too, because they conducted an official scientific investigation into Hans's abilities. A
Okay.
man named Oscar Funks designed the experiment and hypothesized that Hans's owner was sneakily sending him signals. So he made a random stranger.
Okay, even if he was secretly sending him signals, that is still pretty impressive if they are able to deceive a giant group of people. Even if they aren't doing it, legitimately. If the horse is looking at the guy and the guy is giving a fun hand signal and the horse knows how many times to tap, that is still pretty impressive for a horse.
To ask the questions instead. But Hans was still able to nail the answers.
Okay, that's even more
Perplexed,
impressive.
Funks then used blinders on Hans so he couldn't see the questioner, and his ability to answer the questions plummeted.
Oh.
In some cases, he would even
What?
keep tapping his hoof on the ground indefinitely.
But why?
Why couldn't he answer correctly when he couldn't see the questioner?
I'm
Funks
confused.
had an idea. He asked Hans a question that he himself didn't know the answer to, and amazingly, Hans proceeded to do this again. The conclusion Funks came to was that Hans was able to pick up on subtle, involuntary gestures from the questioner when his answer reached the right number.
Oh, okay, so the guy was technically giving signals, but it was involuntary. So he didn't do it on purpose, but when Hans would get to the answer, like if it was 16 divided by 4 and the answer was 4, as soon as, Hans tapped 4 times, then the person, the trainer, would like twitch or something, and then Hans would know that he should stop and that he got it right. Because he probably also got a treat.
He was so good at detecting these minute postural changes that the questioners themselves were totally unaware that they were doing them.
That is pretty impressive.
Hans may not have been a big brain maths genius, but he was a genius at reading people's body language.
He was a psychologist
Something
horse.
humans themselves are notoriously bad at.
Interesting.
Could you imagine Hans as a detective, though?
Where are the
I don't
drugs
know.
going?
I swear.
Yeah, you're lying. Oh no.
This
no.
whole occurrence coined the term the Clever Hans effect, where an animal
Oh.
predicts what someone wants them to do without actually understanding their own actions. For
Interesting.
this reason, it's important to conduct animal experiments in a double-blind fashion, where nobody knows what the expected results are.
I see.
hey,
Well,
Alex.
yeah, that makes sense.
In 1977, animal psychologist Dr. Irene Pepperberg bought an African gray parrot from a pet store. She named him Alex.
So I know for a fact that African gray parrots are really good at mimicking different sounds. So if you say something to it, it's really good at saying it back to you. And sometimes you can even have like conversations with it if you can teach it enough words. Supposedly, it knows as many words as like a 2 to 3 year old toddler could, which is pretty impressive.
Short for Avian Learning Experiment. And over the
Alex.
next 30 years, she proceeded to make him the smartest animal in the world. Alex had a spoken vocabulary of over 100 words, but instead of just imitating words, he seemed to have an understanding of what they actually mean. Objects correctly based on their shape,
What?
size, color, or material.
I couldn't even do that until I was
created his
12.
own words, like when he was shown an apple for the first time and called it a banary, combining two words he had
That's
already
so
learned,
cool.
banana and cherry.
Okay, who's in favor of letting this parrot name future fun things? Because that would be incredibly awesome if a parrot was in charge of naming stuff.
Ooh, look look at the smart bird brain. Alex also showed genuine anger or surprise when the researchers tried to trick him during tests. If Alex asked for a banana and they gave him a nut instead, he would throw it back.
No.
He also got frustrated with his fellow research buddies when they answered wrong. How many blocks are there? 4?
Get mad at them.
Was when he looked in the mirror one day and asked,
What color?
This was the first instance
What?
in history of an animal subject asking a question. That too, an existential one.
Hold on. Wait, this is kind of reminding me of those videos on TikTok I've seen of the dogs that have the different buttons that they can press to speak with their owners. And sometimes they question their own existence. Like I remember this one dog pressed on buttons to ask, "Why am I dog?"
Of animals communicating with humans using sign language and whatnot, but not a
Was that a
single
shadow clone
one has
jutsu?
asked a question. It's always been, give food, give drink, leave me human, and give food. The cutest thing was that every
That's
night
how I
before
communicate.
Dr. Pepperberg locked the lab up, Alex would say,
You be good. I love you. See you tomorrow.
Aww.
and those would be his last words before
No.
unexpectedly passing away one night.
Wait, how long did he live? 1976 to 2007. This bird was older than I am.
The
Or
age
it was.
31.
Wow.
So far, all of these smart animals have been in some form of captivity. But what about a big brain animal in the wild?
Dolphin.
In the late 1800s, ships had great difficulty navigating a treacherous stretch of water called Cook Strait. It was notorious for wrecking ships, and sailors were terrified of passing through. One day, as a ship named the Brindle approached, the crew saw a Risso's dolphin bobbing happily in front of them. And of course, as humans always do, they proceeded to try and kill him.
Of course.
Thankfully,
That's what
the
we do
captain's
best.
wife managed to talk them out of it. But to
Thank
their
God.
surprise, despite the threats to his life, the derpy dolphin began to guide the ship safely
What?
through the dangerous water.
Wait a second. So this dolphin was under attack, and then after they stopped, it was like, all right, cool. I'm going to show you where to go now.
And from that day onwards, he did the same for every ship passing
What?
through. He was given
That's a
the
long
name
way.
Polaris Jack. When he
Huh.
navigated,
So
not a
cute.
single shipwreck occurred.
Wow.
Sailors would even refuse to enter the strait unless Polaris Jack had appeared to guide them.
Wait, that's
This
kind of
continued
incredible.
Until 1904, when someone aboard the SS Penguin fired their rifle
No!
at the dolphin. Polaris Jack was
No!
injured and he disappeared. The people
Why
were
would you
devastated,
do
and
this?
a law was passed under the Sea Fisheries Act, protecting him from any other attacks on his life.
Wait, just
I
him?
wouldn't be surprised if he decided to never help out a human
not
again,
all dolphin?
but on one fateful day, Polaris Jack reappeared.
What?
Hey guys. He
Oh
was
my
a
gosh.
kind-hearted, forgiving creature, ready to help out humans in need again.
That's so nice.
Except for the SS Penguin,
Don't help them.
which ended up shipwrecked in the
Good.
same waters in 1905.
I love
and
karma.
After being a companion to sailors for over 24 years, Polaris Jack was last seen in April of 1912. There
So,
were various
he could still be
speculations
out
about
there.
his disappearance, but I'd like to think that he found a nice place to retire in
Yes.
after a long, fulfilling life. He seemed
I hope
like
so.
a pretty cool dude and is fondly remembered as a hero to many New Zealanders.
Oh my gosh, they made a
It's really
sculpture of
amazing
him.
how all these animals were so smart, and it's also amazing how I am a dumb doggo. See?